Hi, my name is Michelle Diacenis and I'm with the CA View and CA Deliver product team. I want to spend a little time today to show you a new feature that will be a part of the CA View 12.2 product release. It is called Job Mode. Currently I'm positioned on our primary selection lists in View in Job Mode. We have a field called Job Name, and you'll see there's 4 fields that are associated with that, which will allow you to input from 1 up to 4 job names. You can enter specific job names, and you can also use wildcard. For example, if you wanted to see all jobs that start with the letter A, you can enter A asterisk and hit enter. This takes you to our job selection list in Job Mode. You're presented with a list of all job names that start with the letter A. We also have our job ID field. Again, you can enter a specific job ID or a wildcard. I'd like to look for job ID of job 34502. If I hit enter, it takes us to our job selection list and it gives us the information we had requested. You'll see here our job ID 34502. Again, the wildcard feature is available here. For example, if I want to see all jobs that end in a number 1, you can do *1 and hit enter. You're then taken to the job selection list and it returns the requested information. You'll see an *1 under the job ID column, and you'll see all of our job IDs end in a number 1 as requested. We also have our selection by time and date fields. We can enter from last. This allows you to enter anywhere from 1 to 999 days, minutes, or hours. For example, I'd like to request a list of jobs that ran within the last 20 days. So I can have the number 20 in the last field, and I already have days specified. So I'll go ahead and hit enter. And you'll see in the top right hand corner we don't have any jobs that were run within the last 20 days. So now I'd like to see the last 50 days. Takes us to our job selection list, and it gives us a list of jobs that were run within the last 50 days. We have our from date and to date along with from time and to time fields. Here you can enter a date and just use the from date column if you'd like to see all reports that were run on April 30th. I should say from April 30th. And then it takes us to our job selection list, and if you see our start date column, it gives us April 30th as the lowest date up until the most current date. You can further narrow your list and put in a to date. So for example, I want to see all reports that were run from April 30th until May 1st. Okay, we're back on our job selection list screen, and you'll see our dates of April 30th. And if you look down a little bit further in the list, we do have May 1st. And these are presented to us in order by job name alphabetically. Okay. Another thing you can do with this field is you can further refine by placing from times and to times. For example, if I wanted to work with a date of April 30th, and I want a time range, I'd like to see a list of reports that were run from 1500 hours and change to 2000 hours and change. Okay, we are now presented with a job selection list of all reports for April 30th that fall within that time range. If you look at our time column here, I had requested the time of 15 hours, 14 minutes, and 39 seconds until 20 hours, 47 minutes, and 45 seconds. Clear these fields so I can move along in our presentation. Okay, we also have search date and time by start, submit, and end. What this means is if you have start in this field, it would be the date and time that the job was started. Submit would be the date and time the job was submitted, and end would be the date and time that the job ended. So for now, I'm going to put in end and take you to our job selection list. If you look over at our end date and time columns, you'll see our selection criteria is marked for those columns with the SEL. I'll change that to start. And you'll see our selection now has moved to the start date and time columns right here. And the same would be for submit. At the bottom of this panel, you'll see we have other selection criteria. We have Xcode, which is condition code. We have system ID, user ID, and comments. On the Xcode field, you have the options to specify exceptions, either show me a list with non-exceptions by entering NX in that field, or show me a list with exceptions by entering an X in that field. You can also enter a specific condition code. For example, show me all the jobs that completed with condition code 12. It takes us to our job selection list, and if you look under our Xcode column over towards the right, you'll see all of our jobs have condition code 12. The system ID field would be the system ID that the job was run on. For example, show me all the jobs that run on CA31. If I PF11 over to the next panel, it takes us to our system column here, kind of in the middle of the screen. And again, I had requested CA31, so it presents us with a list of jobs that were run on CA31. The user ID field is the user ID of the submitter of that job. For example, I'd like to see all jobs that QAMTL2 ran. Again, if I PF11 over, you'll see our user ID column, my input of QAMTL2, and I've been presented with a list of all jobs QAMTL2 ran. And lastly, we have our comments field. If I wanted to see a list of all jobs that had a user comment of test 2, I could enter test 2 in that field. Again, it takes us to our job selection list. I will PF11 over to our user comments field. My input was test 2, and I've been returned a list of jobs that had test 2 as user comments. Now, each of these 4 fields that I just discussed, you also have the option to use the wildcards in there as well. The other thing you can do from the primary selection panel is input information into multiple fields. For example, I'd like to see all jobs that start with the letter R that have a condition code 12. Takes us to our job selection list. You'll see our job names all start with the letter R. And if I tab over to our condition code column, you'll see all of those jobs completed with condition code 12. Okay, I'm going to show you some things you can do strictly from the job selection list panel itself. Initially, you're presented with a list of job names in order alphabetically. We have the option from here to enter sort commands along with filtering commands. For example, I'd like to sort this list by lines. You can type sort lines on the command line and you'll see that the list has changed. It's no longer in order alphabetically, but it's now in order by lines over to the far right. If I wanted to filter on a specific condition code, you could tab to the asterisk under the heading of condition code and filter just on condition code 12. And then again, you'll see your list changes and gives you only the jobs that complete it with condition code 12. Again, each of these column headings can be filtered and sorted on. I'm going to position us back to the alphabetical presentation by job name. In addition to our sorting and filtering, you also have the option to print your jobs. We have the online print commands of P and PA for print alternate, and we also have the batch commands J and JA for print batch and print batch alternate. You can tab to the selection column to the left of the job name that you'd like to print. You can enter a P here, hit enter. It takes us to our print attribute panel, and you'll see in the top right hand corner that our job printed successfully. From this job selection list, you can also select the full job name and browse that job. If I PF8, I'm paging forward. If I PF7, I'm paging back. Your top commands and your bottom commands all work. Your previous commands, which would take you to the previous record in this job, and your next commands, which would take you to the next record in this job, all work as well. You also have the option to enter a question mark next to a job name to give you the individual list of DD names associated with that job. And each of the commands that I just showed you for selection, browsing, and printing work from this panel as well. I'll enter our P command to print this. Again, our print attribute panel. And again, in the top right hand corner, you'll see that our sysout printed message is there. If for some reason one or more individual DDs associated with this job name were on tape, we have our load command, which would allow you to bring those versions that are on tape back to disk, which would then allow you to go ahead and issue your print commands, your browse commands from there once that's successfully been loaded back to tape. We also have our assign column. I'm going to PF11 over, and you'll see assigned next to the job name. This allows a user to assign themselves to a job. For example, if a job completed with a condition code above 0 and you needed to research this job, you could go ahead and type an A next to that. And you'll see here that in the assign column now it says YAMMEO2, and in the top right it says YAMMEO2 is assigned to job. And if I PF1, you get the long message that states YAMMEO2 is now assigned to job ACOD001. Okay, you can also unassign yourself. Okay, you've researched this job, you know what needs to be done, and or that work is done. You can type a U next to that to unassign yourself. And you'll see again in the top right hand corner, job is not assigned. And if I PF1 for your long message, it states no user ID is currently assigned to job ACOD001. Okay, at this point, this concludes my demonstration of job mode. Again, this will be available in release 12.2 of CA View. I'd like to thank you for your time today, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.